Hey friends, welcome back to the channel with more My Hero Academia. This is Season 2, Episode 21, and last time we learned more about All for One, the origins of One for All, and saw Deku compete in a race, almost won, was moving quite like Bakugo, shocked the rest of the class. That was a lot of fun. So yes, looking forward to seeing where the rest of this season goes. Uh, I doubt we'll really deal with All for One this season again because it seems like there's too short a time period to have a real full arc. We only got 5 episodes left, but yeah, we'll see. Let's check it out. If you want to watch the full reaction, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. Otherwise, we're gonna get started. Okay, so this is a super interesting way to wrap up the season. All these fights against teachers. I definitely want to learn more about all these teachers and see how these different combinations of students work together. So this is a great opportunity to do that. We'll get back to that later, but I feel like there's so much to talk about in this episode. So many different little details. There was that intro with Mount Lady and Midnight. So apparently, Midnight was responsible for a whole damn law that restricted how much skin could be exposed as a hero. That's just super funny to me. At the same time, I'm wondering if there are different standards for heroes because of their gender. It's been years since the passing of this law, and I mean, Death Arm's costume shows off a lot of skin, I think. So I don't know where exactly the line is. Maybe it's decided by our governing board. At the same time, that board would be comprised of individuals, so it'd be susceptible to their own biases. So I'm assuming Midnight can still wear whatever she wants when she's not patrolling or teaching. Being a hero is technically a job, so I guess a dress code does make sense. But I don't know. I don't know where the line is. It's actually super funny because I feel like the outfit is actually less problematic than the way she acts around her students. After some people dropped out of the festival because they were controlled by Shinso, I think she said something like, "Such youthful vigor, it turns me on," which that's not an issue with school with a bunch of minors. Midnight is just she's a funny character. But what's curious to me is that I think Yaoyorozu's outfit actually is quite similar in terms of amount of exposed skin to Midnight's previous outfit. So does the law not apply to students? Also, Kirishima is probably showing more skin than her, at least above the waist. So would they need to adapt their outfits upon getting their hero licenses? They've technically already been in the field as interns, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think we've seen All Might fight in like kind of civilian clothing. I think when he did like the Missouri smash against that like pink blob villain on the way to the USJ in season 1, I think he was wearing a suit and tie. So I guess no one is saying they have to wear their costumes for work, unless All Might is an exception because he's the number one hero. So theoretically, if Midnight's civilian outfit was borderline scandalous and she had to jump in and do hero work to save lives, that could be hopefully overlooked. Anyway, I'm totally overthinking this like dress code thing. It's supposed to be just like a little fun detail in this world that she led directly to a law telling people to cover up. But yeah, it's just it's interesting to me. I wonder what the punishment is for failing to comply. Would there be a fine? I hope there would be a warning first, especially if it's the first offense and it's like borderline. You're not sure if it's crosses the line or not. And what about wardrobe malfunctions? Because they fight villains in these outfits, and we saw with Yaoyorozu that she destroyed her hero costume when she used her creation quirk. And there's something to be said about restricting your ability to do your job, especially when your job is often time sensitive and saves lives. I feel like I'm Deku right now, like muttering, and just like over analyzing the heck out of this. But yeah. Then we have Mount Lady saying that Midnight just dresses sexily for the attention, and they start fighting. Mount Lady with "I look up to you. I think you're amazing for someone of your age." Oh, I mean, I wonder what was going through Mount Lady's mind there. Obviously, trying to push Midnight's buttons. On one hand, heroes are probably meant to be role models, and that kind of tearing down other heroes. Also tearing women down. It's not something I'd want people to look up to Mount Lady to... people who look up to Mount Lady to emulate. Because does she actually have a problem with Midnight trying super hard? Because she said the harder the older generation works, the harder the young ones have to keep up. it's such a flimsy argument that I'm not sure I believe. So I think the most likely scenario is that she knows there are a ton of men out there watching this interview about a racy topic, and yeah, like there's Mineta there who loves to see, and those people probably just love to see two women, especially two women in the spotlight, who are looked at as almost like sex symbols. They probably look forward or are excited to see them fight on television. So it would probably boost both their popularity levels, and I don't know how far ahead Mount Lady was thinking, but she's kind of been fascinating to me ever since the first episode when she stole the spotlight from Kamui Woods and then like posed for the camera. Later on, she got free food out of acting all sexy. So she's like devious in some ways, and on the surface level, it seems relatively harmless. But this time, I'm not so sure because this is the first time I felt like she served as a bad example after going midnight like that. Anyway, I spent way too much time talking about this whole thing. Let's get to the rest of the episode. We found out everyone's midterm results while everyone prepared for their finals, which one semester has already gone by. I think I've heard in Japan they have 3 semesters per year, but still, it feels like we're zooming past a lot, even though this is the end of the second season. So 1/3 of the first year is already over. So I guess by the end of the second season, 1 semester will have passed. So maybe around this end of season 4 will be the end of their first year. Maybe end of season 5 if they really want to stretch it, or end of season 6 if they really, really want to stretch it. Anyway, the rankings for their midterms were interesting to see. Denki Kaminari is dead last. He's hitting the electricity a little too hard, it seems. I guess we should have known he was dumb even when he's not brain fried, since he didn't even realize that he could just touch an enemy and shock them back at the USJ. So you had that quirk for your entire life and you didn't think to do that? Like, boy. He was torn up about being at the bottom of the class, and meanwhile Mina was like, ha 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 ha. I was so bad, and she was like in 19th. So totally different attitudes to failing, coming close to failing their classes. Super funny. How do you pronounce his name? Aoyama, there we go. I think. At 18th, not really sweating it either. Kirishima at 15. It fits into what I think his quirk would say about him. Like, he's very thick-headed. Bakugo said he's gonna beat the lessons into his skull. Bakugo's 3rd, right above Deku at 4. And back down at the lower end, we have Tokoyami at 14. I hope no one bullies him and calls him bird brain, because that is such an easy insult to make. But it seems like everybody in the class gets along except for Bakugo. Bakugo only gets along with Kirishima, it seems. So yeah, maybe everybody's afraid to pick on Tokoyami because Dark Shadow is freaking powerful. Uraraka at 13. She's like silently freaking out about the test a little. She's like sweating bullets. Tenya was 2nd though. This is impressive. Todoroki at 5. Momo at number 1. And she was so happy to be able to help her friends study too. The bouncing with energy. She's great. She's been one of my favorite characters ever since that battle training, actually, when it was Tenya and Bakugo versus Uraraka and Deku. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, she was analyzing why Tenya deserved to be like the most valuable person in that exercise. So yeah, now that we have these midterm grades, I feel like we have a pretty good idea of who is near the top of the class in all respects, because Yaoyorozu, she's got a bit of a confidence issue now with losing to Tokoyami very quickly, and now she feels like she won't be useful in the practical. But like, she was first back in the quirk apprehension test, and now first on the written, at least in the midterms. She's struggling with a mental block and not trusting her own abilities now, but she's top of the class. So I feel like she's more down on herself than anybody else is, and that maybe comes from high family expectations given how upper class they were. And I wonder what drew her to hero work, because it doesn't feel like a rich person thing to do, right? I mean, Batman, but like, he's fictional. Iron Man, he's fictional, right? I mean, she's fictional too, but both of them have interesting backstories. So I wonder why she decided to go into this line of work. It definitely doesn't seem like her parents are heroes, or she wouldn't have been super excited to intern with Uobame and get like on the job training, because she would have grown up around it. So wonder what her parents do. How are they so rich? And yeah, I'm actually not sure what was really on the written tests. I figured it was like very hero centered, but they were talking about like quadratic formulas and I think classical Japanese. So they do have to know like basic school subjects as well. But I assume there's some testing on some hero stuff as well, maybe battle strategies, hero history, hero laws, and the like. Yeah. But yeah, Tenya, Bakugo, and Todoroki are all top 5 on both tests, and Deku placed a respectable 4th in the midterms, and now that he's learned to control his quirk, I'm sure he would have placed top 5 in the quirk apprehension test if they were to do it again now. So, yeah, I think he's one of the top students now too, which is really interesting. A very quick change from the beginning of the series. Shoji is top 10. Ojiro is top 8. Tail guy, impressive. And interestingly enough, Koda and Sato were 11th and 12th respectively in both tests. So they're just like right below average in both. As for the worst students, Mineta was 19th in the quirk apprehension test, but he's probably 20th now that Deku's definitely leapfrogged him. But he's 9th in the written. I guess the pervert's not too dumb. I totally expected him to be super stupid, but Aoyama is pretty down there, and Denki and Hagakure. How do you pronounce her name? I haven't said it in so long. Hagakure. There we go. They are the ones they collectively on both tests seem to have the lowest scores. So yeah, they all go to Momo, asking her for help, and she's so happy to help everybody. It's really sweet, and I forget who it was. They were like, "You're the best, Yao Momo." I think it was Mina Ashido and Denki Kaminari. So I saw someone comment in a very early episode calling her Yao Momo, and I thought it was really, really cute. And I think this is the first time we've actually heard her called that. But yeah, it's super, super cute. And she was so enthusiastic, getting everyone's favorite tea. Denki thought she was getting a Harry tea. It's Harrods. It's the store in the UK. He's like, it's Harrods. But yeah, I actually wonder how many. I wonder what her excitement is about. I think partially she wants to prove herself. She feels like she's her confidence has been down recently, and this is a way to raise it. She also definitely wants to help her friends. She cares about them, and I also wonder how many people her age that she was friends with growing up in a family that had that much money. Maybe she's excited not only to help, but also to have people over at her place. I feel like with such a large cast, we really have a lot of time to... It's going to be a long time before we learn about every character little by little. But I feel like we got some insight into her today. And yeah, for the practical exam, finally getting to that, everyone thought it was going to be robots after Kendo leaked what the previous students have done. Freaking Monoma just always trying to pick a fight, needing Kendo to knock him out. But yeah, Principal Nezu pops out of Aizawa's scarf. Principal Nezu's the best. And tells us that it's students versus teachers. That hardly seems fair. Sure, they have a handicap. It's 2-on-1 and the teachers wear weights to slow them down, but it still feels like complete overkill. The fact that Aizawa took note of the entire class and figured out who exactly to match them with is super awesome. He's got such a good read on his students. You'd think with how often he's just like, oh, I'm not good at this. Midnight, you help them come up with hero names. And like his general demeanor, it doesn't feel like he'd be the best teacher, but I think he's doing a really good job. Yeah, this will be super fun to watch. I think Aizawa could make for a pretty darn good strategist too. In this case, he's making it as hard as he can on the students, but you could also turn around and say he's making it as easy as he can for the teachers. So I don't know if I'm guessing there are jobs out there for hero agencies where they have people strategize, and it's not always just like a brute force kind of thing. You take on this villain, you take on this villain, and just go head to head. But yeah, Bakugo calls out Deku because he's pissed Deku's copying him, so Aizawa puts them together, makes them work together. And against All Might, I think he chose All Might because he's one of the strongest heroes, and he's the one most likely to draw some form of teamwork out from the two of them with just how overwhelming he can be. Aizawa himself is going against Todoroki and Yaoyorozu, two people who might not be super strong fighters without their quirks, which will force them to think on the spot and get creative. Something that might not be so easy with how much Yaoyorozu is currently doubting herself. And Aizawa also said that she struggles with spur of the moment decisions. So yeah, they're targeting the students' weaknesses and seeing if they can overcome them. A little sad that I didn't get a chance to make predictions before the battles began. You'll just have to take my word for it that I would have guessed that Cementos would have beaten Sato and Kirishima. Really interesting that Cementos doesn't seem to have a stamina issue at all. Like, it doesn't affect... Using his quirk doesn't seem to affect him, as Deku said, the way it does when other people use their quirks. Like, Sato and Kirishima both tired out, but Cementos didn't seem like... I mean, maybe he just trained his stamina to a huge amount, but I don't know. I think most of our class will pass, though, because, I mean, wouldn't it be bad if they just failed a bunch of people in their first semester? That feels wrong, but I feel like there will be a few more that possibly fail. Froppy and Tokoyami are going against the Doppelghost guy. I think they're both strong enough to deal with that. They also have that option of capturing them or running away. Only one of them has to run away, so I think Tokoyami... Actually, I was about to say I think Tokoyami can, like, distract all the doppelgangers, but honestly, I don't know how many doppelgangers the guy can make, the teacher can make. He could send a bunch after Froppy and a bunch after Tokoyami if they decide to split up. And I guess splitting up isn't the best idea. The whole point, I guess, is to work on their teamwork and do things, work in a way that's conducive to future hero work. I do think they pass, though. Ojiro and Tenya against, I don't even know who that teacher is, but as we saw from the quirk apprehension test and the midterm results, they're both near the top of their class, so I think they're probably good. Tenya's very serious. I feel like they'll be okay. And I don't know what that teacher's quirk is, but Tenya is super fast. Depends on the terrain, I guess. If he's able to just run away and out the gate, out the exit. I have to imagine Todoroki and Yaoyorozu win against Aizawa because it feels like it's being set up so that Yaoyorozu can have a bit of redemption. I mentioned that right when she lost to Tokoyami, that she is feeling broken and probably wants to make up for it. And at this point, she doesn't even want to make up for it. It feels like she just feels like a hopeless cause. And I don't know, I want her to turn it around. Aoyama is a joke character paired with Uraraka against 13. The one hope is that 13 has been said to be a rescue hero, so maybe they have a shot even with Aoyama being a joke character. I don't want to see Uraraka fail either, so I am rooting for her. I don't know what Principal Nezu's quirk is. Is he just a mouse, bear, dog? He's the principal. Okay. But the whole setup of these finals are teamwork and using our brains to find ways to win, and these are the two dumbest students, so I don't know. I'm sure Aizawa didn't just pair up the two against someone they can just overpower, even though, yeah, like, Principal Nezu is tiny. He looks like they could overpower him, so I don't know what their quirk is. I don't know. I think they lose, though. I think they lose. President Mike against Koji and Jiro. I don't know enough about Koji to make a real call. Like, I can't even remember what his quirk is. I feel like, did they even mention it? And I just forgot? I don't know. But Jiro seems to have her head on straight. This one's more of a toss-up, but like I said in the beginning, I feel like most of the students will pass because, I mean, they all have to, as many as possible have to go to this training camp. Is that what they called it? And I'll err on the side of more people passing than not, since it'd be cruel to make a test that so many students fail. So yeah. Hagakure and Shoji versus the gun-wielding hero, that feels super dangerous. Like, he just has bullets that'll kill your students. They do have Recovery Girl there, but still, I don't feel safe with guns on the premises. I think their best bet is just to have Hagakure strip and run out the exit, since only one of them needs to make it out of the exit, right? That's the easiest way. And then we have Mineta and Hantasero against Midnight. And just for the fact that Mineta was like, we gotta do everything to tear off Midnight's costume. Yeah, I want them to lose. I so want them to lose. Even if I thought they had a legitimate shot, I would want them to lose. But Midnight can just put them to sleep. Like, just wait at the exit, and when you see them emit the gas thing, easy peasy. You're done. Is that all of them? Oh, Deku and Bakugo versus All Might. For the way the story is going, I feel like they'll have to win, but I don't see how. He is wearing weights equal to half his body weight, which is like 300 pounds. I think he said he trimmed down to 550 back during the training montage, but that's still 275 pounds of weights he put on. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see all these play out over the next couple episodes. I don't know if it'll last us until the very last episode in the season, but we'll see. I think this is the longest commentary I've ever done for a My Hero Academia episode ever. There was just so much to think about and talk about. Totally overanalyzing things, but whatever, it's fun. Actually, my commentary for the beginning of the tournament arc might have been longer. I don't know. Hope you enjoyed this episode, though. Hope you enjoyed the reaction and the discussion. I'm going to give this a 9.25 just for how interesting it was to talk about. And it was fun to watch. So I guess we'll see. We know the order of the fights, so I'm looking forward to seeing... We're saving some of the best ones for last, though. Bakugo and Deku against All Might is going to be the last one. All right. Thanks for watching. Leave a like. Really helps with the channel. Subscribe. And if you want to watch the full reactions or episodes a week early, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.